Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1671. Shawn raised an eyebrow. Ivy is an artist under your company, right? How long is her contract period? An agent replied, 20 years. Simon nodded repeatedly, boasting. Yes, Mr. Wood. You can rest assured, Ivy has always followed the company's rules and regulations, and her contract period is long enough. We will keep a close eye on her, ensuring no negative news come out. Essentially, an actor's prime years were spent with a talent agency. With a contract in place, many things were not within Ivy's control. Shawn said nonchalantly, your company is the largest talent agency in the entertainment industry. You boast numerous A-list artists. Yeah, we're doing fine, but it's not worth comparing to your company, replied Simon. In your company, what tier of an actress is Ivy? The entire private room fell silent. The entertainment industry was particular about rankings. The order of names in a TV series or the prominence of names on a poster were important details. Stars were also categorized into A-listers, B-listers, and C-listers. They were essentially the company's money makers. Stars were distinctions based on experience, popularity, fan base, commercial value, acting skills, and background, among other factors. Ivy currently belongs to the B list. She had acting skills, 2 Best Actress awards, notable works, decent market recognition in the film industry, and a promising future. However, her performance in the TV drama market has not yet been outstanding. Moreover, Ivy was an ordinary person without any influential background. Currently, she occupies a somewhat awkward position, neither on the top nor the bottom. To break into the A-list, she needed more fame. So, when Lovito was looking for a brand ambassador, A-listers from various agencies were competing. Ivy was not even in the running. However, the opportunity unexpectedly fell into her lap. With Mr. Wood's appreciation, she's definitely a top-tier star now. Simon nodded. Exactly. In a few years, with Mr. Wood's cultivation, Ivy will become a leading actress and stay in the limelight for a long time. There were many stars in the entertainment industry who rose quickly but vanished just as fast. Those who remained popular for decades were rare. With the support of the Wood Group, Ivy wouldn't lack resources. She would be overwhelmed with opportunities. Shawn smiled faintly. What can I do? Wood Group currently has no plans to enter the entertainment industry. Simon replied, Mr. Wood, you're being too modest. If you ever consider it, our small agency can serve you anytime. If the talent agency could be incorporated into the Wood Group, it would dominate the entertainment industry and be a force to be reckoned with. Shawn raised an eyebrow. That sounds rich. Simon responded, No. This is absolutely my sincere thought. The private room fell silent for a few seconds. Shawn lowered his eyes, tapping his fingers lightly on the table. It wasn't clear what he was thinking. After a while, he spoke. Since you sincerely hope I promote Ivy, then I can give it a try. Everyone held their breath, eagerly watching Shawn. It was time to hear what he would say next. Mr. Wood's words were worth their weight in gold, and Ivy had secured herself a bright future. Chapter 1672. Other female celebrities would go to great lengths to get the backing they had just effortlessly obtained. Shawn casually tugged at his tie. For the sake of Lovito, I think we can transfer the contract between the agency and Ivy to Wood Group. As soon as it was said, the room became even quieter. Transfer the agency contract. That would mean the agency would be handing over both Ivy and the contract to Mr. Wood on a silver platter. After all, the relationship between a celebrity and an agency all came down to the contract. If violated before its expiration, the company could take legal action and impose hefty penalties for breach of contract on the celebrity. Was Mr. Wood wanting to take over Ivy's brokerage contract meant he was trying to buy her out? Ivy seemed to be having an incredible stroke of luck. Not only did she get the endorsement opportunity, but now Mr. Wood was helping her redeem herself. People in the agency were accustomed to dealing with various benefactors. Rich benefactors like Shawn mostly engage with them casually and part ways when they get bored. It was all about mutual benefit. Good benefactors may provide a female celebrity with connections or financial backing. Even after parting ways, they might extend help when the female celebrity encounters any problems. However, to entirely buy out a celebrity's contract was unheard of. Mr. Wood was the first. Indeed, he was wealthy and influential, the helmsman of the top family in Sea City. It shocked everyone. The manager did not know what to say, gaping, looking at Simon. She was just an employee. Such significant decisions must be made by Simon. Simon finally came to his senses. Mr. Wood, are you suggesting? Is what I said not clear enough? Although Shawn spoke casually, even with a hint of a smile on his lips, Simon felt a strong sense of oppression. Shawn lazily leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. I'm doing this for the sake of Lovito. If Gale were present, she would definitely say that he was bullshitting with his eyes wide open. However, the others, who had barely interacted with Shawn, could not understand what he was thinking at all. They only felt that Mr. Wood was determined to redeem Ivy. They hypothesized that it was not only for Lovito, but also to keep Ivy by his side. Lovito is a jewelry brand under Wood Group, currently occupying 70% of the market share. In the future, it will be a crucial department for Wood Group. This time, the brand ambassador contract is a global contract and a lifelong one. So, for the sake of my brand, I hope to acquire Ivy's contract, prioritizing our needs and making our work more efficient. At this point, Shawn deliberately paused for a few seconds, his gaze sweeping across everyone's faces. What do you think? Who would dare to meet his gaze? Finally, Shawn looked at Simon. Of course, the decision is still in your hands. You own the agency. My words are just suggestions. You can listen or you can. Shawn elongated his voice, and after several seconds he said, Not. Would that not be openly offending Wood Group? Opposing Wood Group meant suicide in Sea City. The days ahead will certainly be challenging. You can consider it, Shawn chuckled softly. In the future, there might be more interactions between Wood Group and your esteemed company. Chapter 1673. It sounded like a threat and then promised a reward. Shawn used the stick and the carrot. It all depended on how Simon would react. Beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. He had two choices. He could transfer Ivy's management contract to the Wood Group as a favor to Shawn. In the future, Mr. Wood might remember this favor and grant them business. However, this would mean the agency would lose an artist. The industry was highly competitive, and it was challenging for newcomers to make a breakthrough. Growing a celebrity requires the right time, place, people, and a lot of luck. Some management companies struggle for years without producing a single celebrity, while others relied entirely on the profits brought by a single well known celebrity, enough to sustain the entire company. Simon could also choose to reject Sean's request, keeping Ivy's contract. The endorsement could be discussed later, and if Mr. Wood liked Ivy so much, he would still choose her. However, it would undoubtedly offend Sean. Sean wore a relaxed smile on his face, while others were extremely tense. No problem, there's still time. This meal has just started. There's plenty of time to consider. Here, let me toast to you. He lifted his slender fingers, raising his glass to Simon. Simon forced a smile, picked up his glass, and took a sip. At that moment, Ivy suddenly stood up, pushing her chair back. I need to use the restroom. Before anyone could respond, she briskly walked out. Ivy, Ivy, her agent called out. Ignoring everyone, Ivy left the room, slamming the door shut with a bang. Mr. Wood, the agent also forced a smile. She'll be back soon. She's just using the restroom. If you're worried, I can check on her. The agent gestured as if about to follow her. No need. I'll check on her, Sean said. Sean was going personally? Ivy seemed quite favored. Before anyone could react, Sean stood up and calmly walked out of the room. After he left, the room remained silent. It was not until Simon sighed deeply. Should we eat or not? Without any coordination, the guests slowly left. The meal had reached its end. The host was not staying, so what was the point of staying? In the corridor, Ivy walked quickly with her head lowered. In truth, she did not understand why she suddenly felt the need to leave. She could have stayed there silently in the background, like a display vase. However, Ivy's heart felt uneasy. She never realized how someone could effortlessly achieve something without spending a penny, merely relying on their status and position. This was something beyond her own effort and capabilities. Ivy felt like an object being transferred back and forth. Chapter 1674. Her life was entangled by that single contract. She did not like that atmosphere and wanted some quiet time alone. Do you still want to walk away? The women's restroom might not be convenient for me to enter. Sean's voice echoed. Ivy paused, suddenly turning back. Mr. Wood, why are you here? She was quite surprised. Did Sean come personally to find her? I don't like such occasions either. Sean walked up to her, hands casually in his pocket. But it's because Gale begged me for a long time, I decided to come. He rarely attended these dinners, usually delegating them to the vice president or department heads. Only if his presence was absolutely necessary would he show up. Sorry, Mr. Wood. It's my fault, causing trouble for you, Ivy said. No need to apologize. You did nothing wrong. Mr. Wood, this favor is too much. I can't repay you. Sean's expression remained indifferent. In front of other women, he always presented this cold and unapproachable demeanor. You don't have to repay it. Gale has already repaid this favor for you, Sean replied. Confusion appeared on Ivy Sparks' face. Gale repaid the favor for her? What did that mean? She did not quite understand. Sean, naturally, would not explain. He just said, For next steps, my assistant, Fiona, will coordinate and follow up with you. If you have any questions, feel free to contact her at any time." "Thank you," Ivy said, bowing her head. "The clothes don't fit well, and you're not used to them?" Shawn asked. Unexpectedly, he noticed. Ivy Park responded, "Yes, it's a dress my manager brought over for me and wanted me to wear. Normally, she would wear evening gowns for events, parties, or ceremonies. That was her job. In daily life, she dressed for comfort, which was more of a casual and sporty style. She would not wear tight-fitting, revealing tops like this." Ivy pulled the collar up, awkwardly covering her shoulders and front. A blazer appeared before her eyes. Ivy looked up, staring at the man in front of her. "Mr. Wood, this—" "Put it on." "It's not suitable, Mr. Wood. It might cause misunderstandings." "Gale won't misunderstand. A mere jacket cannot cast doubt on our relationship," Shawn said. They had weathered so many storms together, they trusted each other. Besides, the matter of Ivy's contract was something Gale asked him for help with. Ivy was probably considered a friend to her now. Hearing Shawn's words, Ivy finally accepted and put on the suit. The blazer looked like a bit loose on her, but at least it gave her a sense of security. Little did Shawn and Ivy know, there was a camera pointed in their direction in the corner, silently shooting away. The paparazzi were watching. Chapter 1675. These paparazzi were unlike the ones who had secretly photographed Nicole the last time. They specialized in the entertainment industry. They were good at stirring up scandals for mere angles and clever photography tricks. They strategically choose moments that evoke fantasies and cause trouble. For example, when Shawn handed over the coat, or Ivy put it on, Shawn instinctively raised his hand to adjust the hem. The paparazzi intentionally twisted his lens and blurred the background. From the photos, it looked like Shawn personally put his blazer on Ivy. "Mr. Wood, wearing your clothes back to the room will make things even more weird," Ivy sighed. "All they know is dinners where mutual benefits are arranged. They will undoubtedly think that we're in such a relationship." She did not mind, though. She was single and did not have a boyfriend or a husband. However, Mr. Wood was different. He had a family and children. Shawn retorted, "Do you think we'll go back?" Ivy thought about it but stayed silent. "Going back would be weird. They've probably dispersed by now," Shawn said. "Mr. Wood, if you try to explain our relationship, they won't believe it, and they might even think you're intentionally showing off." Ivy looked into his eyes. "Mr. Wood, are you just letting them misunderstand?" Shawn replied nonchalantly, "As long as we know what we are, I don't care how they perceive us. You should also understand that whatever they think we have is beneficial for you." Looking at the big picture, if the management company had not transferred Ivy's contract to Shawn, everyone would have been cautious and respectful toward her due to Shawn's perceived backing. Ivy understood these principles. Her heart suddenly pounded violently. All her previous knowledge about Shawn came from the internet, the love, hatred, and everything he went through for his wife and his successful family life. No wonder people said that every woman who saw Shawn fell for him. Ivy had not believed it before, but now she felt her heart stirring. However, she quickly suppressed this thought. How could she entertain such ideas? Mr. Wood is married. He has a family. Mrs. Wood has been so good to her that she cannot entertain such thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Ivy looked away. If my contract transfers to the Wood Group, I will. Shawn interrupted her. If I get your contract, it will become a worthless piece of paper. I won't use it to restrain you. At that time, you can establish your own studio and take control of your work. If needed, I can provide any assistance for you. He had no need for her contract, nor did he want to gain anything from her through this agreement. He was simply helping her. Talking about transferring it to the Wood Group was just an excuse to deal with the people from the management company. With the backing of Wood Group, Ivy would face fewer obstacles, and she would have more say in her work. In the city, no one would dare to cause trouble for someone associated with the Wood Group. Ivy felt a stirring in her heart to be in the presence and favor of a powerful man who solves all her troubles and worries like this. She was on the verge of falling. Let's say Shawn is simply too dangerous to be around. Mr. Wood, I still want to ask, why are you and Mrs. Wood helping me so much? Is it genuinely just because you're fans? Ivy pinched her palm with her nails. Chapter 1676. My wife is your fan. This is what she wants. As long as it's something she wants, I'll help her fulfill her wishes, Shawn replied. Ivy's heart was beating really intensely. Once he said that, she calmed down. Well, of course, Shawn loved his wife. He was known to dote on her. How could she entertain such presumptuous thoughts? Besides, Mrs. Wood was her benefactor. Everything I do is for my wife. I've also explained that she's repaid the favor on your behalf. Ivy smiled, forcing herself not to look at Shawn and to stop indulging in wild thoughts. He is married. He loves his wife. Mrs. Wood is truly fortunate to have you, Ivy sighed sincerely. No, I'm the fortunate one to marry her. Ivy was momentarily stunned. Having spent so long in the entertainment industry, she had seen all kinds of complicated relationships. She witnessed cheating, one-night stands, and more. She was starting to lose faith in love, let alone believe that there could be someone who loved another person. Now, she witnessed true love. In an instant, she felt ashamed of her earlier feelings. She should only admire Shawn and not covet him. She had read about his love for his wife online so many times, she knew it very well. It was ridiculous. Ivy told herself that she absolutely could not have any cheating thoughts about Shawn. Absolutely not. She always had dignity and never stooped to curry favor with wealthy patrons. Must she become the kind of person she despised? Moreover, Shawn did not even look at her that way. In his heart, there was only Mrs. Wood. My wife and I have endured the greatest hardships together. I owe her a lot and want to make it up to her. Shawn gazed out at the neon lights outside. Now is my chance to treat her well. Ivy sighed from the depths of her heart. You two are truly lucky. Shawn smiled faintly. He wondered where Gale was right now. It had been so long since Gale and Summer last saw each other. They were probably chatting and gossiping, forgetting all about him. Shawn raised his wrist to check the time. It was time for him to leave. In fact, you and my wife have some similarities. Is that so? You're both independent and want to prove yourselves with your own abilities. That's also why she wants to help you. Probably because she sees her past self in you, Shawn said. Back then, Gale had no one to help her, no one to lend her a hand. Now that she was strong, she could help others. She wanted to give others a hand because she had experienced hardship herself. Shawn thought she might appreciate Ivy because of those similarities. If you continue to work hard, you will be blessed. Shawn folded his hands behind his back. Ivy, your good days are just beginning. Yes, I'm lucky to have met Mr. Wood and Mrs. Wood. In fact, your character isn't really suitable for the entertainment industry. What suits you is being a good actress, diligently honing your craft and dedicating yourself to your acting career. He noticed that starting from the dinner, Ivy was particularly uncomfortable. Despite her efforts to conceal it, she could not hide it from him. Unfortunately, the entertainment industry required playing along and putting on a show. Her cool demeanor was simply not endearing. I love acting. It will be my lifelong career, Ivy replied. Chapter 1677. Well, best wishes to you, Shawn said. With that, he took a step forward. Fiona will contact you tomorrow. Goodbye. He had done what he needed to. Fiona would take over now. Shawn just had to show up to the extent he was needed. The agency had a firm grasp on their talents, so he needed to show up to sort that out. Mr. Wood, let me see you off. It was a small gesture. She could not do more for him anyway. He lacked nothing, and what he lacked, she could not give. Ivy adjusted her jacket. She caught a whiff of Mr. Wood's faint, yet refreshing cologne. Shawn did not even stop. No need. He just wanted to get home quickly. If Gale were not back yet by nightfall, well, then he would have to go fetch her himself. Being a mother, how could one play so carefreely and not look at the time? What time was it anyway? Shawn continued walking ahead while Ivy hurriedly trailed behind. How could she let Mr. Wood walk alone? Wait for me, Mr. Wood. Ah! Before Ivy could finish her sentence, she slipped. She let out a scream as she uncontrollably fell backward. Hearing the woman scream, Shawn turned to see the perilous scene. Without much thought, he reached out, grabbed Ivy's flailing hand, and pulled her into his embrace. Ivy crashed into his sturdy chest. That was close. She almost fell. If her head hit the floor first, it would be bad. Feeling a bit dizzy, Ivy caught his scent. It smelled like his jacket, but only better. Suddenly, she realized their current position was too intimate. That was not right. Before she stepped back, Shawn had done it first. Upon steadying her, Shawn withdrew his hand and immediately stepped back. Be careful. He did not like unnecessary physical contact with women other than Gale. The situation before was purely his protective instinct. He could not just stand by and watch her fall. Ivy glanced down at the ground. There was a puddle of water. No wonder she slipped. Thank you, Mr. Wood. Sorry to trouble you again, Ivy said somewhat sheepishly. No problem. Shawn's expression remained cool and indifferent as he turned and walked away. That was his demeanor with almost everyone. He would only smile if he was interested or had something on his mind. Watching his retreating figure, Ivy felt a bit dizzy. Chapter 1678. Ivy could not help but wonder what Shawn's affectionate side would be like. Surely only Gale could see it. Even after Shawn had been gone for a long time, Ivy still stood in the same spot. The paparazzi were snapping away crazily, especially when she had slipped earlier. It was like they were blessed. At first, I thought these deliberately angled shots might not be up to par, considering how much the buyer would pay for it. I never expected such a scene to suddenly unfold. It's like they're handing me money, Ivy. I declare you my lucky star. I wish you a bright future and a soaring career in the entertainment industry. Perfect. This is more than enough. Each one can steer rumors. The paparazzi enthusiastically admired the photos on their camera. Ah, Ivy and Shawn, in an embrace, eyes locked. Fantastic. He removed the memory card, whistled, and left the hotel. However, he did not drive away immediately. He looked around to ensure no one was watching, took out his phone for direction, and then walked to the designated spot. There were only a few cars parked along the deserted road. Suddenly, a black car appeared, and the window rolled down. The paparazzi hurried over, nodding and bowing. So, you're here. A man deliberately lowered his voice and sounded, "Where are the goods?" "Here." The paparazzi handed the memory card into the car. "I assure you, it's exactly what you want to see. It's absolutely sensational." He bent down, wanting to look at who the buyer was. Before he could, the car window swiftly rolled up. All he saw was a black mask and a peaked cap. Oh, the client dressed more covertly than the paparazzi. Inside the car, Aram viewed the photos. The more he looked through them, the wider his smile became. This was the work of a professional. These photos would definitely make Shawn speechless. They were absolutely scandalous. In the photos, Ivy was still wearing Shawn's coat. When they embraced, the coat slipped down, revealing Ivy's fair shoulders, the curves of her bosom faintly visible. It looked like they were engaging in unspeakable intimacy. Very sensual. These photos could create a big rumor. Aram was very satisfied. This time, Shawn and Gale's relationship would be affected. He was determined to exploit those cracks at every opportunity. Aram understood that destroying their love in one fell swoop was impossible. It had to be done step by step. Whenever a crack appeared, he would take advantage and spend more time with Gale. One day, she would stay by his side and never return to Shawn again. Not bad. Aram lowered the car window again. Why does Ivy have a men's coat on her? Was it really Shawn who gave it to her? Of course, it's true. I got it all on camera. Absolutely true. Aram furrowed his brows. Could it be that Shawn really had some feelings for Ivy? Otherwise, with Shawn's personality, he would be cold to anyone, keeping them at arm's length. For Aram, this was a good thing. Chapter 1679. If Shawn could change his mind naturally, it would take even less effort on Aram's part. All right, you did well, Aram said. As long as you're satisfied, I feel good. The paparazzi grinned. If there's anything like this again, feel free to call me anytime. Aram asked, Have you seen me before? The paparazzi hesitated for a moment, then quickly responded, No, I haven't. I've never seen you before. I don't even know what you look like. We're just strangers. Good. Keep your mouth shut. If you breathe a word of it. I promise I won't. I have professional ethics. You can trust me. Aram nodded, stepped on the gas, and the car sped away. He was in high spirits. He hoped Shawn would fall for Ivy. It would work out well. Shawn with a female star, and he would have Gale. He would not need to break them up then. As the night progressed, Shawn was driving back home. His phone rang. Hello? Nicole's complaining voice came through. Daddy, why aren't you home yet? I'm on my way. Is Mommy with you? Is she next to you? Shawn answered. Your godmother came to see City today. They went out. Looked like Gale was still with Summer. Why aren't you both coming back? I miss you both. It's already late. Please be safe out there, Nicole said. Shawn smiled. Nicole was always warm and thoughtful. As for his son, the boy did not even think to say anything. Almost there. I'll pick Mommy up on the way, all right? Shawn said. Okay. Go to bed early. You have school tomorrow. Good night, Daddy. Nicole kissed the phone. Drive slowly. That was what home felt like. Before, no matter how late Shawn returned home, nobody asked about him. The housekeeper had no right to inquire about his schedule or why he had not returned. Now, it was different. No wonder Lucas said Temperley Hall was just a house, not a home. He had been disdainful of grandfather's comment at the time. Now, thinking back, he should have listened to his wisdom. If he had understood this principle earlier, he could have enjoyed the warmth of family sooner. Good night, Nicole. Just as Shawn was about to hang up, he heard Joshua's voice on the other end. Joshua seemed to be talking to Nicole. They'll be back a bit later tonight. Don't rush them. Don't check on them. Give them enough freedom so they can enjoy enough time together. Joshua, it's so late. Why are you still in Nicole's room? Joshua immediately responded. Boss, I'm telling her bedtime stories to help her sleep. With you and Mommy not here, this duty falls on me, right? Don't worry, you go ahead and have fun. I'll take care of my little sister and fulfill my big brother's duties. Shawn felt satisfied with his answer. Don't worry, boss. I've got things under control at home. It seemed like having a hold on Joshua was not such a difficult task after all. He just needed to know what he liked best. After hanging up, Shawn made a turn at the intersection of the road and headed to the restaurant. Time to pick up his beloved wife. Chapter 1680. He thought, in the future, I'll set up a curfew for her. She must be home before 11 at night to prevent her from hanging out with Summer and losing track of time. Shawn's car slowly pulled over by the road. He got out of the car, but noticed a familiar vehicle. He raised an eyebrow and swiftly strode over. He tapped on the car window and said, Joe, what a coincidence. Oh, Shawn! Joe rolled down the car window. Here to pick up Gale? Yeah, what about you? Joe looked nonchalant. I'm here to pick up Summer. Shawn did not buy it. You were on the same plane as Summer, but you weren't invited to this dinner. Don't you know where you stand? Why pretend in front of me? I didn't want to intrude on their girlfriend's reunion. What would I do with two women chatting away? Obviously, it's them who didn't want you there. Joe got out of the car and leaned against the door. I haven't settled accounts with you. While Gale and Summer have their gathering, we boys should have a reunion too. Why didn't you answer my calls? I was busy. Where were you? Gale didn't even invite you. I had business to attend to. Shawn crossed his arms. Not as free as you think. Joe was very displeased. Damn, I can't believe this. I'm breaking my back in a foreign country for the company, and you didn't even commend me? You didn't even welcome me back or even get me a drink. You want a welcome ceremony? Shawn sneered. Fine, I'll arrange one for you at the company gate tomorrow. At the company gate, a welcome ceremony, employees holding banners and flowers shouting, "Welcome back, General Joe." Just imagining that scene made Joe shudder. No need, no need. I've devoted myself to the company. Shawn glanced at him. "Why are you lingering by the door?" "Do you want to go in?" Joe asked eagerly. He lacked a reason to enter the restaurant. After all, Summer and Gale had ignored him. How could he have the galls to show up in front of them again? However, with Shawn here, the situation was different. Joe could say he was accompanying Shawn. What a convincing and irrefutable reason. His brotherhood with Shawn saved the day for him, even though his brother had started prioritizing romance over friendship. He could occasionally help out a little. "I can go in or stay out here. What's it to you?" Shawn said. Shawn could not possibly know Joe's thoughts and schemes. "Stop beating around the bush," Joe pushed him. "Let's go. Hurry up." Shawn stood still. "Why should I go in just because you want me to?" Since when did he let others dictate his actions?